Hi, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about 1984 by George Orwell. So let's get started. The novel 1984 was written by George Orwell, whose real name was Eric Arthur Blair. He was a British novelist, essayist, journalist, and critic born on June 25, 1903 in Motihari, India, and he died on January 21, 1950 in London, England. Orwell is famous for his clear prose, political awareness, and opposition to totalitarianism. 1984 was published on June 8, 1949, and it is considered one of the most influential dystopian novels of the 20th century. The book belongs to the genre of dystopian fiction, portraying a nightmarish vision of a totalitarian society where the government controls every aspect of life, including people's thoughts. Historical and social context. Orwell wrote 1984 in the aftermath of World War II and during the rise of totalitarian regimes, such as Nazi Germany under Hitler and Stalinist Russia. These governments used propaganda, censorship, and surveillance to control their citizens. Orwell, who had witnessed political oppression during the Spanish Civil War and observed the spread of authoritarian ideologies, wrote this novel as a warning about what could happen if such systems took hold in the future. The novel reflects the growing fears of state surveillance, the loss of individual freedom, and the distortion of truth. Let's have a look at the summary of this work. The novel is set in Airstrip 1, formerly Britain, a province of Oceania, one of 3 totalitarian superstates in the world. The party, led by the mysterious figure Big Brother, rules Oceania with absolute power. The population is under constant surveillance through telescreens, microphones, and hidden informers. Independent thought, individuality, and rebellion are brutally punished. The protagonist, Winston Smith, works at the Ministry of Truth, where his job is to rewrite historical records to match the party's ever-changing version of reality. Winston secretly hates the party and dreams of rebelling against it. His daily life is filled with fear and monotony, but he holds on to small acts of rebellion, such as writing in a secret diary. One day, Winston notices Julia, a young woman who works in the fiction department. At first, he suspects her of being a spy, but she secretly slips him a note that says, "I love you." They begin a secret romantic relationship, meeting in hidden places away from the party's surveillance. Their love affair becomes an act of political defiance in a world where personal relationships are forbidden. Winston and Julia rent a room above Mr. Charrington's antique shop, believing it to be a safe place. They talk freely, read forbidden books, and dream of a future without the party's control. Winston becomes increasingly involved in thoughts of rebellion and believes he has found an ally in O'Brien, an inner party member who seems to share his hatred of the regime. O'Brien invites Winston to his luxurious home, where he gives him a book supposedly written by Emmanuel Goldstein, the leader of the Brotherhood, a secret resistance movement. The book explains how the party maintains power through perpetual war, surveillance, and the manipulation of truth. Winston reads the book eagerly, believing that real rebellion is possible. However, Winston and Julia's hope is shattered when they are suddenly arrested. Mr. Charrington is revealed to be a member of the Thought Police, and the room was under surveillance all along. They are taken to the Ministry of Love, a place of torture and re-education. There, Winston comes face to face with O'Brien, who reveals that he was loyal to the party all along. O'Brien tortures Winston physically and psychologically, forcing him to abandon his beliefs and accept the party's control over reality. Through brutal interrogation, O'Brien demonstrates the party's frightening power. They do not just demand obedience, they demand complete submission of thought. The final and most terrifying part of Winston's torture takes place in Room 101, where prisoners face their worst fears. For Winston, this fear is rats. Faced with unbearable terror, Winston betrays Julia, begging O'Brien to torture her instead of him. This betrayal breaks his spirit completely. After his re-education, Winston is released back into society, but he is no longer the same man. His independent thought is destroyed. He spends his days drinking victory gin and watching telescreens in a broken, numb state. In the novel's haunting final scene, Winston sits alone in the Chestnut Tree Cafe, completely loyal to Big Brother. When he hears the news of a military victory, he experiences a surge of love and devotion toward Big Brother. The novel ends with the chilling line that Winston loved Big Brother. His rebellion has been crushed, and the party has total control over both reality and his soul. Now we will have a look at the themes of this work. 1. Totalitarianism and control. The party exercises absolute control over every aspect of life, including thoughts, history, and language. 2. Surveillance and privacy. Constant surveillance ensures citizens can never act or think freely. 3. Manipulation of truth and history. The party rewrites history to maintain power, making truth whatever they declare it to be. 4. Language and thought control. Through newspeak, the party aims to eliminate rebellious thoughts by reducing the range of language. 5. Individual versus state. Winston's struggle represents the fight of the individual against a powerful and oppressive state. 6. Betrayal and loyalty. Winston and Julia's betrayal under torture shows how the party destroys trust and love. 7. Psychological manipulation. The party doesn't just punish the body, it breaks the mind, reshaping reality itself. Now, we will discuss some major and minor characters. The first major character is Winston Smith. He is the protagonist of the novel and works at the Ministry of Truth. Winston is intelligent, thoughtful, and quietly rebellious against the oppressive rule of the party. He represents the struggle of the individual mind against totalitarian control. His journey from rebellion to complete submission shows the terrifying power of the regime to crush human spirit. The second major character is Julia. She is a young woman who works in the fiction department at the Ministry of Truth. Julia rebels against the party in small, personal ways rather than through ideology. She begins a secret romantic relationship with Winston, which becomes a symbol of personal freedom in a society where love and intimacy are forbidden. Julia is clever, bold, and practical, focusing on living in the present rather than overthrowing the system. The third major character is O'Brien. He is a sophisticated and intelligent inter-party member who initially seems to share Winston's rebellious thoughts. Winston trusts him, believing he is part of an underground resistance. However, O'Brien ultimately betrays Winston and becomes his torturer and re-educator. O'Brien represents the manipulative power of the party, which uses both deception and cruelty to maintain control. The fourth major character is Big Brother. Big Brother is the symbolic leader of the party and the figurehead of the regime. His image is seen everywhere on posters with the slogan, "Big Brother is watching you." He represents the party's absolute authority, surveillance, and control over every aspect of life. Although it is unclear if Big Brother is a real person or just a propaganda figure, his presence is all-powerful and inescapable. The fifth major character is Mr. Charrington. He appears to be a kind and harmless antique shop owner who rents a room to Winston and Julia, allowing them to meet in secret. However, he is later revealed to be a member of the thought police who has been spying on them all along. His character shows the extent of the party's surveillance and the impossibility of finding true safety or privacy. The sixth major character is Emmanuel Goldstein. He is the principal enemy of the state and the supposed leader of the Brotherhood, a secret resistance movement. Although his existence may be fictional, he represents the idea of rebellion and opposition against the party. His image is used by the party during the daily 2 Minutes Hate to direct citizens' anger away from the regime and toward a common enemy. The seventh major character is Parsons. He is Winston's colleague and neighbor, a loyal and unquestioning supporter of the party. Parsons is simple-minded and blindly devoted to Big Brother. Ironically, he is eventually arrested by the thought police after being denounced by his own children for thought crime. His character highlights how the regime turns even family members into instruments of surveillance and control. The eighth major character is Syme. He is an intelligent colleague of Winston's who works on the development of newspeak, the party's controlled language designed to limit thought. Winston recognizes that Syme is too intelligent to survive in the oppressive system. Eventually, Syme disappears, illustrating how the party eliminates anyone who becomes a potential threat. Minor characters. The first minor character is Mrs. Parsons, the wife of Tom Parsons. She lives in fear of her own children, who are fully indoctrinated by the party. Her character shows how the regime destroys family bonds and creates fear even within the home. The second minor characters are the Parsons children. They are enthusiastic members of the party's youth organizations and act as spies against adults, even their parents. They symbolize how the regime uses children to maintain control and instill loyalty from a young age. The third minor character is Ampleforth. He is a poet who works with Winston at the Ministry of Truth. He is arrested for leaving the word God in a poem during editing. His fate shows how even minor mistakes can lead to punishment under the party's strict rules. The fourth minor character is the Prole woman. She is a singing woman whom Winston admires from a distance. She represents the resilience of ordinary people, the proles, who continue to live, sing, and have hope despite the party's control. Winston sees her as a symbol of humanity's potential to resist oppression. The fifth minor character is Catherine, Winston's estranged wife. She is completely loyal to the party and sees marriage only as a duty to produce children for the state. She represents how personal relationships are stripped of love and emotion under totalitarian rule. Critical importance. 1984 is one of the most important works of modern literature. Orwell's warning about totalitarianism, surveillance, propaganda, and the manipulation of truth remains profoundly relevant in today's world. The novel introduced terms like Big Brother, doublethink, and thought crime, which have entered everyday language to describe political and social realities. In conclusion, 1984 is not just a story about a dystopian future, it is a powerful warning about the dangers of unchecked political power. Through Winston's tragic story, Orwell shows how oppressive regimes can destroy truth, individuality, and love. The novel continues to resonate with readers because its themes remain urgently relevant, making it a timeless masterpiece of English literature. So that was our today's topic. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comment box. Thanks for watching.